red hot.
Hello.
Hello.
This is the best trick you'll ever buy.
First, you introduce your prediction and place it under an object. I always use a spectator with a Rubicon bottle, but you can use a spectator with a brick, a spanner, a baby, or anything you want.
And I'm going to leave that. Can I place that under the bottle? Is that alright?
Yeah,
so you know I'm not
of
going to touch it or anything like that. I'll leave it right there.
Then, the people you're performing for pick any number between 1 and 52, and then you deal down that exact amount of cards and stop on the card they select.
6, 37, and there is 38. I can see this card. You've arrived at the 38th card. The 8 of diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
That is exciting, right?
Yeah.
Then you reveal your prediction, and it matches perfectly.
My prediction is here from a different packet of cards, and that card is also the 8 of diamonds.
Ooh.
Thank you.
Then you knock 'em for 6.
Every single card is actually
Oh. That was a plot twist.
yeah. Plot twist.
Plot twist.
Plot twist.
Plot twist.
Plot twist.
Plot twist. I wasn't expecting them to all be blank, so I've not seen one of those tricks before. Absolutely amazed.
Plot twist.
And they can check 'em out.
Exciting.
Have a look. Here you go.
Ooh, that's good.
That was good.
I like that one.
I was surprised. I was. Exciting.
Yeah, how was that?
That was good. I think that's a wrap, Joel. Just be careful, the edges right there in front of you. So, yeah. Right, Brill, thanks ever so much. Oh! Oh, shit, Joel. Joel! No. Oh, no. No.
All right.
Are you sure? All right, well, go on then. Hello.
Oh.
We have a little person wanted to come and say hello to everybody, but I think he's got a little bit camera shy, just as yeah.
Well, you can't blame him, can you?
I know.
Did
I
I
get
scare him
intimidated.
off when we came on? Did he just run off?
No. Do you want to come and say hello to Joel? No, he's not doing it. Camera shy.
Let me know. Hope everybody's
Oh.
keeping well. Hello. If everybody could do us a favour and hit the share button, then that'll be fantastic.
Yeah.
That'll be wonderful stuff. So yeah, how are you doing, Andy?
I'm good. I'll be honest with you. I'm feeling the strain. After yesterday, we were a full day yesterday, and we
had a busy day, didn't we?
had a busy day. So I'll tell you what I'm finding: the driving. Because
Really?
when we were working, I was driving all over the place and that sort of thing, and now I'm finding that the driving kills me. It's absolutely. I'm like, oh.
You're a lightweight. I've done about 15 hours of driving in about maybe 3-4 days. That's it.
Really?
I used to drive sometimes about 8 hours a day. Like when we were working, when we were magicians.
When we were magicians, when we were young.
We were young. I feel like I'm retiring. It's like we're going through retirement.
Well,
I
I
know
think
what it's
we're practicing for semi-retirement, aren't we? I think that's what we're doing.
It's like
I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was just saying, yeah, in the good old days when we used to go out and perform, and it feels like years ago, but just 6 months ago, and it's frightening. It's frightening how quickly we get used to lifestyle as it is. We adapt very quickly. So,
yeah. But anyway, it sure is. Hope everyone's keeping well. Hello to everybody who said hello so far. Hi, Gideon.
Hello.
Hi, Dean. Mr. Duggan. Matthew John Cook. Hi, Matthew. I was talking about you yesterday, Matthew, to Andy and Kay. We were talking about the food festivals that we've been doing or haven't been doing.
Yeah.
Gareth's been hitting share.
Well, Gareth, just be gentle.
Be careful, Gareth.
Well, I'll be honest. He's been very angry, hasn't he, Gareth? Royal Mail's not his friend. Yeah. Your
Just
t-shirt,
ignore him, Andy.
your t-shirt's going to be here this week.
We're probably making him really jealous by wearing these incredible looking t-shirts right now.
No. So, Gareth, we do what we can. We send them out. Oh, we're in the hands of Royal Mail. So, listen, the word of real workers has spread that far and wide. Even Royal Mail staff are robbing people to get a t-shirt. That's how precious they are.
Exactly. But
So-
we had a busy day yesterday. Unfortunately, we can't show like the results, but we had a recording day. We went in. We hired this incredible venue in Manchester to put forward a new trailer for a new effect that we're putting out. We've got a picture of it. Should I fire up the picture so people can see it?
I mean, we were in good company. The person that hired it before us, not exactly before us, I think it was a few weeks ago, a month ago, was
Netflix.
No, Gallagher. Liam Gallagher hired it before us, and then Netflix before them. So we're up in the game when it comes to the old promo.
We are bringing the glamour to the magic community.
Well, wait, show them the video. Show them the pictures first. They'll see how glamorous it was.
Okay. It wasn't. I'm looking for it right now. There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Check that out. But how cool is that? It's such a good venue.
That's Joel's new flat.
That's my new apartment. So there we go. There's Andy looking sexy.
Oh, look at that.
You've got your shoes on the chair.
Yeah, I've got my shoes on the chair. So I had to take them off, to be honest. I mean, 7 hours. They were killing.
So what is there anything we need to talk about before we bring our guest on today? Or?
Well, we did have a bit of a challenge last week, didn't we, with regards to the creating your own package trip, really. But because we've been obviously doing all these bits and pieces, all I did yesterday when I got in, I had a cup of tea and went to bed. That was it.
Right. Well, this is the ultimate proof that you have now become such a lightweight, because my drive was 2 hours longer than yours.
No, it wasn't. It was an hour longer than mine.
An hour and a half. An hour and a half longer than you. Then I had to.
How big was it? Was it?
It was big. And then, to top it all off, once I got back, I couldn't sleep, so I put my computer on and put all the footage on and everything like that. So basically, people, what we're saying is we've got an amazing trailer which is going to be coming your way very shortly. So make sure you don't miss it, because it's really good.
Oh, yeah. And the graffiti. How amazing was the graffiti?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was incredible stuff, yeah. Oh, we could have got a picture of that on. There was even some graffiti in there which matches the name of the routine perfectly. You couldn't have asked for anything more, right?
Yeah. No, it was good. It was... When I found the venue and we were talking about it and I was trying to explain it to you, I don't think I did it justice, really. And then we all turned up on the day and it was like, my God, it's amazing.
It is. It's really,
really good. So we'll still, if you've done any packet trips, it'll be fab. If you've done videos, send them in. We'll get them on.
Tell you what, let's just do packet tricks next week. That's what we'll chat about. Basically, the idea of the competition, well, it wasn't a competition, the challenge, take your favourite packet trick and turn your favourite packet trick into...
put your own spin on it, really, wasn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, just do whatever you want to do with packet tricks. Come on, I think we should get our guest on.
Yeah. Well, what can we say? She's amazing. I mean... I think everybody will have heard of her. She's performed at Magic Castle. She's an award-winning magician from the Brotherhood of Brotherhood of International Magicians?
International Brotherhood of Magicians.
Brotherhood of Magicians. She entertains everybody, children, families, everybody, adults. So yeah, so I'm very young.
Really excited to get her on and have a chat and see what she's been doing.
So, do we introduce by a character? Shall we just introduce by a real name?
Yeah, I'll let you do the drum roll and then I'll bring her on. Do-do-do-do.
Oh, well, it's my pleasure to introduce the fabulous Nikola Arkane.
Hello, everybody. Hi. Hey, Auntie. Hey, Joel.
Hey, Nicola, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you.
Good. You're looking great.
Thank you.
So, let's just so the viewers know, where are you right now?
I am in my bedroom studio in Belfast, Northern Ireland.
Excellent. Oh, wow. So we were saying earlier how I'm just basically directly opposite you right now. So I'm in Cumbria, you're over here. So and Andy's down there in the UK. And I was explaining it would actually be quicker for me to just travel down across to you than it would be for me to get down to Andy. So basically, what I'm thinking is we should just bomb Andy off, and me and you should just create a new company called Real Magic Workers.
Yeah. Just come over here for a cup of tea anytime. Tea and magic.
Brilliant. I've got rid of Andy then, so that's it. We're now into a contract. You've just agreed and signed up, so we'll bring him back on. Oh, he's in the middle now.
Piggy in the middle.
You know, she's been here 2 minutes and called me a pig already. Not nice. What can I say? Well, you'll fit in fine. Don't worry. You're okay. You'll fit in fine. So how have you been coping during lockdown?
I've been okay. It started out kind of really dull and dreary because I didn't really know how to handle it. And I suppose it's the same as everybody else because, you know, we're entertainers. We constantly go out and, you know, meet people and do things. So when that ended, it was like almost my life came to an end. I know that's very dramatic, but it felt like that.
No.
And then I just decided that I cannot spend like more than a month in my bedroom, like not feeling like I want to do magic. So I just said to myself that this time is my time. I've been gifted it, so I can't go out and work. I'm going to use it, and I'm going to read as much magic as I can, learn as much magic as I can, with not the intention of going out to perform. But then what happened was people started asking me, could I perform online? And it wasn't necessarily a medium that I would feel comfortable with, but I thought, well, I've nothing better else to do, so I may as well perform and try stuff. And really, it's just built up from there. It's nowhere near normal at all, but I think I've survived.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And even when, because I did see you went out, you did a video, I think it was after you'd done the performance, and you were sent out the shield, and you didn't realise how much sort of things wrong left on the shield after the performance and everything else. And
yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, because the government has been so sparse to our industry, I thought when I went out and did my very first live gig, I thought, well, I have to do stuff myself to make sure the customers feel safe and make sure that I feel safe. So what I did was I realized that potentially I can only take one gig per day because I don't want to cross-contaminate different parties for the customers and for me. That's just my feeling on that. And then I thought, well, also your kit has to be that kit for that show, and then you have to clean it before the next day or the next show.
Yeah.
Your costume, you need more than one costume. And at the start, the visor was the thing and the mask. And I realized, well, I can't wear a mask because I need to talk. The kids need to hear me and they need to see my facial expressions too. So that's when I got the visor. And I kid you not, I was so surprised because you don't really notice when you're performing. But when I got out to the car and I physically looked at the visor and I seen all of the stuff on it, I realized, wow, the government aren't telling us it, but you know, it's in the air. We're breathing it, we're speaking it. So it's hard to know what's right and what's wrong at the minute. But I think my best advice to people is to do what you think is right and let the customers guide you because they'll tell you what they want as well.
Yeah. So can I ask a question? When you say you looked at your visor, do you mean the visor was a mess?
Yeah. I actually, rather than getting an elastic band visor, I got one that was a pair of glasses, like it had a frame because I thought I move about a lot in my magic show, so I could easily just knock off an elastic visor, and that would be a nightmare picking it up to put it back on again. So I thought it's more secure here. And when I took the visor off and actually took apart the plastic bit, it was covered, absolutely covered with spit particles, or from me talking for an hour. So yeah, it's interesting.
Oh, right. So it was meant. I thought you meant it was kind of coming into you, but it was you going out.
It was me going out to them, because obviously the audience were at that stage, I happened 2 meters away, so they were quite far away. But yeah, it's surprising. I would recommend everybody just do it just to see, because once I seen that, it really made me aware of what you need to do. So
right, okay, Was it? Can I ask another little question about the visor? Was it a little bit embarrassing whilst you were performing that, like a spread was appearing in front?
Well, they wouldn't have known, because you would only know if you kind of looked up close and you kind of,
right, I see.
In the light, you wouldn't necessarily see it. On close inspection, you would see it. But speaking of being embarrassed, actually, in the first show, I arrived in the visor, and what was interesting was, obviously, like, yourselves, if you're kids performers, kids latch on to things. So it became like hard for me to deal with the visor and do my show. But what I realized was, after that, and I have been doing this, the visor can become part of the show. Like, it's almost like you're Darth Vader putting on a mask to do the show. It can become something. It doesn't have to be embarrassing or something silly for the kids to laugh at. It can actually become something really magical if you want it to be part of your show. And the kids are smarter than we realize. They know what's going on. So you don't have to explain what it really is if you don't have to, So.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I got one of those with a band where it lifts up at the front and then drops down. So when I'm performing, I will sort of just tilt it a little bit, and I'll say it's a convertible, and I do all sorts, and you just make a joke of it, really. And I said they're very focal, so don't worry, I can be close up and far away. And I've told people.
That's a great idea. I love that. Very focal. I'm writing that down.
It's right. It's okay. I've told people it's my new contact lenses, and tell me if it slips, we're all right. And,
wonderful. I know. I mean, it is a crazy thing that we have to do, but it's better to be safe. And I'm sure you guys have seen it too. Like, the first few parties that I've been to, the kids and adults just needed it. Like, they were so grateful. And even though it has been a bad thing and our industry has went down in terms of gigs and bookings, I think people appreciate more now what we do. So eventually there will be a turning point, and maybe our industry will be appreciated more because of what's happened. So we never know.
I think hopefully what we want is people who aren't watching magicians. We want them to go back in time to the 1970s, where they haven't seen any magic, and then we come back out and they believe that we genuinely are wizards and psychics.
See, that's it. I didn't even think about that, you see, because if they kind of have a gap of seeing magic, all the magic's new again. Even pick a card trick.
we're going to make the 21 card trick look amazing. Let's face that.
Dynamic coins are coming back out. We're good.
I haven't actually performed yet. I've done like a few public shows so far, and they've all been like really like heavily distanced. Like somebody who booked me, they were basically about a mile away, and it was like really fast. So I haven't needed a mask or a visor or anything like that. But what do you think if somebody was doing a show in an actual mask, one of these things? If I would.
I'm not saying it's impossible, but for working with kids, I don't think it's really practical for me anyway, because for example, my magic show, I do magic tricks in it, but a lot of the tricks are really about me and my character, and a lot of the magic's in my face. The kids seeing me react to things, like things breaking or things not working. I'm not saying that it won't work, because obviously, like, you have amazing art forms like Commedia dell'arte, where they were masked and they can do loads of things. But I think it's just going to take a while to work out the ins and outs of performing with a mask. It's like a new skill, like the new skill of performing virtually online. It's just going to take time. But right now, I don't see it I would prefer to perform without a mask so they can still see my face. But that can change. So
yeah, I agree. I think like expression is a part of the show. It's you know. Even to the point where we tell, for example, we might perform a bit of a magic trick, then tell a joke, and if our face is covered, that joke could almost be taken in the wrong way, or where your smile, your beam that's coming through is emphasizing, and it's like if somebody tells a joke and they laugh, it makes the joke even funnier, whereas the right expression can make the magic trick appear even stronger. And it's a little bit like that. If your face is covered, you're going to lose that impact. Or
I mean, I'm a big fan of one thing I do in my magic show when I start with kids is I don't do any magic right away, because I realize when you're performing for children, it's really important that they get a visual image of you and what you look like, because it takes them a while to kind of take you in and observe you, because you've come into their environment. It's you're a strange person in their environment. So I'm always for letting children see me, doing a warm up with them with no magic, so they can actually see who I am. So I don't know yet how that would work if half of my face was covered. So
yeah. I tell you what, I've just had a little idea. Have you ever seen? You will have seen this before. It's like a clear plastic sheet.
I have to apologize. My laptop is about to run out of battery, so keep talking, and I'm going to plug in.
All right. Okay, I'm going to keep talking. Right. There's these little. Well, the big. They're like. I think. What is one step higher than A4? A6? A5?
What, larger?
Yeah.
A3.
A3. Right. Sorry. Okay. A3. So you can get these A3 plastic sheets, right?
Yeah.
And they're basically made to illuminate. Magnify and intensify light. But what it does, it acts as a magnifying glass, and it makes your face massive. So as people are looking at you, you'd have this giant face.
Yeah, like the reflective. Oh, what's it called? I can't think what it's called. It's like got spirals on it. The magnifying glass that used to be on buses.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it. So what you could do, just as a little idea, is wear one of them and have this massive face, and then you haven't got any worry about anybody missing your expression.
Do you know what? How did you know that was my dream to have a massive face?
There you go. Well, there we go. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's good stuff. It's worth thinking about. Just take your visor off and replace that.
You could do a real life Instagram story with your own filter on and the visor, because you could have it so it'd be angled, so your mouth would be bigger at one bit and then your head would be bigger. So you could create your own Instagram story in real life. That'd be amazing.
This is where all the new material happens, right here.
So, Nicola, you've written books.
Yes, I have
Writing a book at the moment?
I am, yes. So basically, in lockdown as well, as I said, I decided to read a lot and learn a lot of magic. But when I started performing over Zoom, I realized that there's a lot that you can do, because performing to a camera is like being a television host or a presenter. And basically, if you imagine this is like a frame, everything outside that frame is sneaky and hidden. It's like a little world of its own. But inside this is where the magic happens, and this is where you focus on things. So a lot of the tricks.
You've got a giant savant.
I know, giant. Yeah, that's what I've done. I've basically turned all around here into a giant servant, and I realized that you can. It's so good to use the space that's not in view. And basically, this book is about that. This book is about the audience seeing the trick, but it is here in plain sight, but they can't see the method. If that makes sense. So
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And this book, has it got a name?
Yes, it's called In Plain Sight, because obviously all the methods are right there in front of people.
Right.
So I've written the book at the minute, and it's actually with there's 7 effects in it, and I'll perform one of the effects at the very end of this interview if you guys don't mind.
Are you sure?
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant.
yeah, it's getting corrected because even though I've written 3 books now, my English is still really bad. So I make sure I get it corrected by a few people. And yeah, I'm getting a cover illustrated as well, which I'm very excited about because there's a really amazing artist working with me on the front cover. And yeah, I think it's going to be a real unique book. So
are those the pen drawings that you've been posting recently? All the outline sketches? Would it be something like this, like these?
Yes, that's all my sketches. So that's for a little a vanishing card, a cool idea for a vanishing card effect. So yeah, but yeah, what's good about writing the book, I decided to do the sketches myself because I knew it would cost money and I didn't have money. So it's been a new learning curve to try and learn how to draw. And I did art up until A level and I haven't drawn anything in like 10 years. So it's wonderful to kind of go back and use those skills with this.
Brilliant. Wow. So you've used lockdown not only to create new magic tricks, to write a book, but you've also taught yourself how to draw.
Yes.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Wow.
I feel, you know.
And actually, I would like recommend that to everybody, you know, who is in the creative industry, like find something else. Because when you get bored of magic, and I don't care what you say, everybody, some days you need a break from magic. Do something else creative, like draw something or make something like woodwork, or just give yourself a different challenge. Because what I find is when I draw for a day and I come back to magic, I'm actually more creative and ready to delve into the magic rather than just going at the magic every single day. So
okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so I'm guessing then, so drawing, writing a new book, you've probably learned other things as well, new skills. And
definitely, I mean, everybody, I'm sure you guys included, like lighting and sound have been the bane of my life in lockdown. It's so difficult, and I really I bow down to people who work in the theater industry and work with lights and sound, because I don't know about you guys, but I have found it extremely difficult. Like it's been a really steep learning curve.
Yeah. I've been quite lucky that I work in video and produce little movies and things like that in the past. So I've been quite lucky that I know what to do with lighting. You know.
Remember that journey you said that was closer to me than to Andrew? You know, you can come over and help me.
I'm not that good. But Andy's actually got his head around it quite a lot recently.
Ah.
Yeah, like we had some really good lighting yesterday in our little studio, and Andy basically brought it all in. It looked absolutely fantastic. Yeah.
It's amazing what you can do with a bit of lighting and a bit of coloured light and that sort of thing. And yeah, I mean, there was one, we did one, and it's going to be my proudest moment in promo history when we were trying to do a shot where we were walking, and it was boring. It was just like, so we did something with shadows and things like that, and it looks amazing. It really does. So I'm really excited just for that bit. I don't care whether anybody else likes the rest of it. I want that bit.
I love that, and that's what's great about learning to edit as well. Like at the start, I didn't have a clue. But when you learn tiny little bits, like, you know, because now you know, the walking bit's going to be the good bit, you can make your videos so much more interesting and enjoyable for you to put together as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've always been interested because your characters are so unique and so almost like if I'd not seen anything of you previously, I would have said that's the main character you do. They seem really well thought out. They almost seem like they've got a backstory with everything. So how much do you put into the characters, and how far do you go with them? Do you sort of have a complete history and that sort of thing?
So basically, before lockdown, I had Fizz Wiz Pop as my character, my kids show character. And in the last 2 years, I've been trying to piece together what Nikola Arkane is, my close-up. And what's great about starting from scratch is I can try as many tricks as I like. I can feel, I can be good, because I'm still figuring out that character. But what's great about what I do for kids is Fizz Wiz Pop is a character. My friend described it as she is a Deadpool, Gollum and Pippi Longstocking at the same time, because over the years I perform, but my character has an inner dialogue that comes out during the show as well. So I'm performing away, and then I'm telling the kids what's actually in my head, but then I come back into reality too. So the fact that Fizz Whiz Pop is so strong, I realized in lockdown that I didn't have to perform as Fizz Whiz Pop all the time. And what if Fizz Whiz Pop visited ancient Egypt, or what if she visited the mystical East? If she visited different places, she could still be Fizz Whiz Pop, but basically take kids on a journey to all these places that they won't see in lockdown. So what I've actually done is I've used kind of a method that works, the Fizz Whiz Pop character, but then just took her on a journey to all these amazing places. And when you have a theme that's so strong, for example, like ancient Egypt, the tricks kind of just come at you, and then that's the content. So the character follows the content. So
you kind of allow the geographical place to kind of dictate the magic almost, so the kids get an experience of that.
Exactly. So when I went to ancient Egypt with the kids, I was actually really proud of the tricks I came up with for that. So I did cups and balls because it was related to being like one of the oldest magic tricks in the world. And I said the cups and balls were written on the hieroglyphics in Egypt. And I also did a version of Paul Harris's Last Card, or Will the Cards Match, but I did it to explain the idea of Didi, the magician, tearing the heads off animals and putting them back together. So when I went to the mystical East, I did things like linking rings, or Chinese linking rings, and that's what I kind of do.
Excellent.
So if people don't know, we have got some pictures.
I'm going to show. Yeah, brilliant. Sorry, I was just going to say this is Fizz Whiz Pop, right?
Yep.
Yes, that is me. That's the original.
That's the original. So there's another one. Sorry.
Oh no, that's the original Fizz Whiz Pop, rather than all the characters. So.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, just to show people as well, we've got this is you in Egypt.
Yeah.
I'm guessing this is France.
Yes, I took them to do a day trip to the Louvre in France.
Then we have.
That was the Great British Magic Off. So it was a baking show.
The expression on that one's amazing. Then we have this one.
Yes, that was Blast Off with Fizz. That one was the last show that I did with them before starting up again, and that was taking them to outer space.
Right.
Oh wow. Oh, that's
do you make all the costumes yourself?
Yeah. Basically, I've developed and gathered a lot of costumes over the years. But in lockdown as well, what I did was I bought a lot of things just on Amazon, because it was the only place, let's face it, that was delivering quickly. And yeah, I just kind of put things together and tried to do it on a budget really quickly, because I had 2 shows every week. I only had 48 hours to design, come up with the story, come up with the tricks, and then put it on in my room. So I had a very, very tight timeline to do that. But I was lucky I had some costumes, and then when I thought of the themes, I just kind of pulled stuff that I had out of the closet. So yeah.
Cool. Can I ask what kind of audiences were you mainly zooming into? Was it things like children's birthday parties, schools?
Yeah, it's well, at the very beginning, I did 2 birthday parties, and then what happened was charities started to get in touch with me. So I've done a lot of work over the years with like the Belfast Children's Hospice and the Belfast Hospital. So the hospice got in touch with me, and I started doing gigs for them. But then there's a charity in Belfast called May Murray Foundation, and they're the ones that I've created these shows for in this space. And basically, they were so happy with the shows that I created, and the families. Like, it started off having 50 people watching, but I don't know how it expanded, because within a couple of weeks, over 400, 500 people were watching the shows and tuning in live, which is crazy. So May Murray Foundation have really saved me, and they've actually continued the relationship. So I'm now doing a weekly show for them every single week for as long as I want now, which is wonderful.
Wow, fantastic. That's brilliant.
Mm.
I'm going to say well done. It sounds patronising, but that's fantastic.
No, it's amazing. Really is.
Yeah.
It's just nice because they're not paying me much by any means, as I'm sure a lot of people know from doing virtual shows. But I just turned it around, and I find real charity. Like I did charity work every year, but this has become real charity and good for me and good for my soul and good for them too. And the families have made a real connection with me and I them, and that's more important right now, I think. So.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think one of the big things we're going to take out of this is money's not really everything. I think I miss making people smile and having an impact and all that sort of thing. And I don't know whether I should say it, but at the moment, I'd go and do it for nothing. I would.
Yeah,
I need the money.
That's why we've got both of you on the show. You're like yin and yang. I love it.
We've got a question from a guest.
In colour as well. He's been on the sunbed this week. I've been in.
I look like I'm wearing makeup. I'm not. Is it just my neck that's a different colour to the rest of my face? To my face or something? I don't know. Anyway, we've got a question from a guest, and this is from Gideon, and he's asking, "What is your favourite go-to effect with children?"
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to say this, and you're not going to be surprised here, but sponge balls. I have a love-hate relationship with it because when I
I'm not
first
surprised. Sorry, I would have been surprised had you said sponge ding dong. I would have been surprised. But I'm not surprised.
But yeah, no. There's a reason why I say sponge balls because when I first started in magic, I had Mark Wilson's course in magic. And I learned sponge balls, and it felt like it's almost like a rite of passage because every magician does it and does it well. I just could not, for the life of me, do the tension vanish. I was awful at it, so much so. But I knew that I wanted to do sponge balls on my show, so I was so determined that basically, even though I was rubbish, I kept doing sponge balls. And before each show, I used to practice in the car before going into the show, and then in the car before going into the next show. So it became like a thing that I had to achieve and I had to do. And I'm so glad that I did that back then because my sponge ball routine has completely, it's become a whole piece. I introduce it. I have a present and a card, and it's like if it's a birthday child, it's a birthday treat for them, but it actually works regardless whether it's a birthday or not. And what happens is a big rainbow streamer comes out of the present box, and at the bottom there's a sponge ball, which is hilarious because this big massive thing happens, and then they look in the box and it's this tiny little sponge ball. And I use green sponge balls because back in the day when I first started and COVID wasn't around, I used to say that they're snots. And the reason I did that was because when I first started, kids watched me, but adults didn't watch me. And I thought, how can I get adults interested? Especially because once you've introduced yourself and you've done your first trick, that's when adults tend to switch off, just slightly.
Yeah.
So I thought, I tried turning them into bogies or snots. And when I did that, the adults were like, boom, because they don't want you talking about snots in front of their kids, but the kids are laughing because they love all that disgusting stuff. And basically then it just became a thing. And it's very funny, you know, it's like, oh, I better clean it. I'll clean it on you. Oh no, don't worry. I'll clean it on myself. And it became a whole thing. So it's kind of sad that I can't do that right now, but I still mention that it's a bogey and then I joke about it and, you know, just say that they're green balls.
You should get some little brown ones as well and say you don't want to know what they're from. That's too bad.
Maybe. I don't know.
From
the rabbit drop-ins.
Yeah. But speaking of sponge balls too, when I did my space show with Fizz, I've had like little star sponge balls star-shaped sponges for ages that I've never used. And I decided to use them in the space show, but just do the same routine. And just by changing the shape and changing what they were, a completely different routine came up because it was like shooting stars. I was able to throw it over here and catch it over here, and there was, so yeah, sponge balls for me is very magical. You do a lot with it.
Oh, very nice. Which actually, that has answered one of our other questions. Gareth Whitty was going to ask, what do you think about sponges? So there we go. That's two birds with one stone there.
And actually, just on that note as well, I haven't stopped doing sponge balls since I went out live again. I have like a load of them, and what I do is I wash them thoroughly and steep them between each show, because I'm only doing one show a day. I don't see how that would work with close up, but I don't do sponge balls close up. So if anybody figures that out, let us know. So
yeah, no, it was something when I went out and performed, I changed pretty much everything. I used to do card to mouth and sponge balls, and you find, I now do card to head, my forehead rather than mouth, but I don't give it the card back or anything like that. So
No.
I did think about writing, because they have a signed card that goes on my forehead, and then I did think of swapping it and putting a temperature on, so 35 degrees, and going like this, and then saying, "Is that your card?" Oh, sorry, that's my temperature. But again,
that's really nice. I like that. That's very unique, and I like magic.
It really, because I thought, well, because people want to forget about it, and that's why we're there.
Yeah,
that's a big thing. I'm sure people have found, and I'm a big stickler for educational magic, or magic being used for education. Like, Americans love it, and that's wonderful. But for me, when I perform magic, I did the educational thing. I did a big math show, and I toured America twice with a maths interactive show. And education's great, but for me, magic should be fun. It's a chance for people to escape, and for kids and adults to just forget about the world. So when I see people coming up with routines about washing hands and things like that, it just kind of really, it's just, at the minute, it's like, no, let's not talk about this. Let's give people a break. But that's so.
They get it all day, every day, don't they? So the
news is on all day, and it's telling us all what we should do and what we shouldn't do. So this should be, when you do magic right now, I think it should be an escape, but it should be
absolutely. Yeah, totally agree. Gideon gives a massive thumbs up, which is
awesome.
Thank you for answering his question.
No problem.
So we've got another question which is coming. This is off David Hand. It's quite a long one. He says, as many children these days seem to be streetwise, and with YouTube and things like that showing and explaining so many magic tricks, are you more selective with the type of effects you perform?
Well, of course, it depends on the age. Before lockdown, I developed 2 magic shows, and they were like two different versions of the Fizz Wiz Pop Magic Show. And my ultimate aim was to create 3 versions, so that basically, if someone was to hire me, they could hire me 3 consecutive years in a row, and by that time they're too old for a magic show. So that was the idea of that. But I think show tricks, you don't really need to change. Like, your show is different when the children are sitting watching the show, but when after the show, for example, and you're kind of hanging with the kids and you're doing maybe some little effects with them or teaching them something, that does change. It has to be a bit more snappier. It has to be more visual. But what I find surprising is it's kind of like when you, they say, don't they, that when you want to keep a secret, you can publish it. Even though the kids have seen that, it's different when they've seen it live. They don't know what they're seeing. Like, they will say, "Oh, I know how that's done," but they actually don't. Sure. In my opinion, anyway. So when they actually have you there live, it's a completely different thing to seeing something on YouTube.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to do is when somebody says, "Oh, I had a magic set, and I had one of those fake thumbs," and then I do a bill switch, and they'll go, "How did you do that?" I'm like,
"Yeah." We always forget. I think we're harder on ourselves, and we don't appreciate the creativity that we have done over the years of creating different magic tricks. There's so many different methods. I remember when I was an illusionist, and I used to tour shows doing illusions as a box jumper. And I was in a box, it was like a sword box where I got put in, and 16 swords got put in. We used to do this in schools, and kids used to put the swords into me, and it was hilarious. They used to actually call out "kill her" in the middle of the show. But afterwards, they always came over and said, but how did you do that? And then some people told me methods, and I was like, that would be an amazing method. And it just goes to show there's so many ways of thinking about how it's done, but it's not actually really how it's done, you know? So.
No idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, and it's even more like you say, when people come up with like potential methods and you start making things up, it's always, interesting to see what their actual thoughts create rather than what they could have just gone on to Google and come up with.
If you were told the method, they'd be so disappointed because their methods are normally so elaborate.
Yes.
That's
yes,
true.
we are simple people, and we look for simple methods, whereas they look for these big, massive, oh, he had this, he had that. It's like, you just had a thumb.
Have you seen the other questions around? We've had another question for...
Oh.
Yeah. This has come from Otter, and he's asking, what is more difficult, a very small audience of kids or a really large group of kids? And then he goes on to say he sometimes feels that kids are less likely to listen and pay attention when there are only a few of them. Yeah.
That's a really interesting thing. When I first started, I didn't particularly like performing at weddings, and maybe other people, especially with children. It's not just even the close-up. But what happens at weddings with children is, if you imagine families, like, so their cousins or their second cousins, they don't really see each other very often.
Okay.
And when they don't know each other, it's really difficult to get them to do a group response together, because they're embarrassed because they don't really know their cousins who are actually sitting watching the show. It's the first time that they've seen them today.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to get them all excited at once. And I used to find weddings really hard, because you're kind of going into a situation where you have to provide a lot of energy and there's not a lot coming back.
Yeah.
But what I find was, actually, all you need to do is actually bring the magic down to them and be a bit more attentive to each and every one of them individually. Because if you give each of them individual attention, they will actually come together very, very nicely as a group. So that's how I've kind of dealt with smaller groups. But now, like 13 years on, I love all audiences. I love small audiences. I love big audiences. I've performed in hospitals, at bedsides where there's only a child and their mom and dad. It's difficult, but you just have to change how you think in here, because it's not necessarily what they're seeing. They're still seeing the same performance and the same performer. It's how you feel about it. And
Sure. And it's also how you deal with it mentally as you travel into the gig and you're thinking about, right, there's going to be 2 people, or there's going to be, you just finished the show and there were, like you were saying, like 300 people, and then you're going somewhere else, and then it's your job to build the audience in a festival, or and it's all state of mind, isn't it, and how you're going to deal with it.
It definitely is. It's the same as it took me years to work out working with children in hospices and hospitals who can't really respond, and I realized my problem wasn't performing for them, it was in my head, because it didn't feel the same. But actually, they're just getting the same amount as what a normal audience would. It's how you think about it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely. And I guess when you've just got a couple of people that you're performing for, you've got to think about actually talking to them rather than being this performer. And absolutely. We have. Sorry, one moment. Can I ask a question about a picture?
Yes, of course.
I'm going to show you a picture. And just tell us a little bit about it.
Okay. This was my very first experience performing at the Magic Castle in Hollywood. So last September, I was invited to perform there, and it probably, honestly, the best week of my life. I went for myself. I didn't really know anybody there, but when I was there, I was treated like royalty, like family. I was looked after. I got to perform in the close-up room, and that was actually the room I asked to perform in. And sometimes when you when you send your material to the Magic Castle, you're put in a room that you don't want to perform in, or you hadn't envisaged yourself performing in. And I was so delighted that I got put in the room that I asked for, because the close-up room is just so magical. So magical.
And when did you go?
It was September 2019.
Okay. Oh, brilliant. So like fairly recently.
12 months ago then.
Yeah. Actually, yes, 12 months ago now. Yeah.
Excellent.
So did you see anybody there that you admire, or did you work with anybody?
Yeah, so I did 35 magic shows, and what was brilliant was I performed in the close-up gallery, but I also performed Fizz Whiz Pop, and I think I was more excited about bringing Fizz Whiz Pop to the Magic Castle than I was about doing the close-up, even though that's what I really wanted to do. And I wouldn't. 35 shows is a lot to do in a week. I'm just telling you. Like, I was literally lying on the floor at the Magic Castle at the end of the week, going, "Why did I agree to this?" But it was the best week of my life, and I will never forget, because obviously at the Magic Castle you have lay people coming in most of the time, but also you will get the odd very famous magician just kind of sitting in the back row, and yeah, it's crazy. Towards the end of the week that I was there, a reserved seat went over, or a reserved kind of cover went over a seat, and I knew that I hadn't invited anybody, and I didn't know who it was. And the guy, my host, kept saying, "Oh, this is for Jim." And I'm like, Jim, okay, who's Jim? And then all of a sudden the door opened and Jim Steinmeier walks in and sits down. And I'm sitting like, I couldn't believe it. And I was so nervous that I actually saluted him and walked out of the curtain and walked backstage. I don't even know why I saluted him, but I did, because I was so nervous. But it was amazing, because afterwards he spent as much time as he could with me before my next show. And he was lovely. He was so nice.
Oh, that's amazing. When they're as nice as you expect them to be, that is so cool.
Yeah, definitely. And what was really nice was, like, all my shows were sold out. They must have really liked me, because every show, like, literally was filled with people. And yeah, if you ever get a chance to, or you want to, don't be afraid to send your footage off to somewhere like that, because I honestly did not believe that I had any chance. Like, a girl from Belfast performing over there, there's no way. And it happened. So,
well done.
That's
fantastic. Brilliant.
How long was your show? How long was your close-up show that you did?
So they recommend 20 minutes, but the sweet spot, as Jack Goldfinger says, is 18 minutes. And you shouldn't really run over 18. You'll get told off.
Wow. And you did 35. How was your throat, like, vocally by the end of it after 35 shows?
I was really lucky, because the rooms are like, the close-up room obviously is quite small, in terms of audience. So that was fine. But when I went into the parlor to do the brunch shows with Fizz Whiz Pop, I was really feeling it by the end of the week. It was wonderful. And I can't wait to go back. So
if you, just so you know, if you did 18-minute shows, you did a total of 630 minutes of performing. So
wow.
That's a lot of vocal work going on there.
That's a lot of vocal work, yeah.
It must have really strengthened your throat, though, you'd have probably been lined up amazingly well for this year.
Yes, I know. And then this happened.
I know, exactly. You wouldn't have needed any of them lozenges.
Oh, no, definitely not.
We've got a question. This is coming from Danny Martin. He's got a question for all of us. He's asking a question for all of you. What magic do you like to watch and still find magical and makes you feel like a child again?
Well, I can tell you at the minute. So my boyfriend, Tom, has been sending me magic videos every day of a magician called Paul Harris. Do you all know Paul Harris?
Yeah.
Oh my good God. This guy is, I can't even describe his magic. He makes me feel like a child again. Like, it's actually real magic. Yeah.
So, are these like recent videos? Because I haven't seen any recent videos from it.
No, it's a DVD collection. I can't remember what it's called, but I find out and I'll actually write.
Astonishment.
Yes, Art of Astonishment. So it's the DVDs. So basically, every single day I've been getting a video of Paul Harris's magic, and I kid you not, like it feels real magic.
Right, has he got a moustache in these videos?
Yes.
Right, it's not the Art of Astonishment then. It's
the DVD a puzzle box, like a wooden puzzle box.
Sorry, yeah, that's the Art of Astonishment then. Yeah. All right, sorry. Because it was Bro Gilbert who did all the presentation on that.
Yes, Bro Gilbert's performing them all. Yeah. But I like, oh my word. For me personally, my favorite magicians so far have been Daryl, Tommy Wonder. But seriously, since lockdown, and I've discovered Paul Harris, everything of his is amazing. Like, it's so accessible, and he explains it very, very well. There's no mistaking. You can immediately go away and do those tricks as long as you have the props. And in fact, the other day I performed his vanishing deck trick for my sister, and I kid you, my sister's reaction, I've never had a reaction like that before in my life. Like, she was like trying to pull the deck out of her pocket and she couldn't get it out, and it was it's amazing.
Little news for you, it's actually called True Astonishment. The Art of Astonishment, of course, is his book. His books.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yes.
Yeah. There's some amazing stuff in that.
If you haven't checked it out, Paul Harris. Oh.
Yeah. I've got all of his books on the bookshelf over there.
DVD. My favourite one is the Torn and Restored leaf.
The Torn and Restored
leaf from a tree.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's brilliant. Impromptu as well.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's what I really like about his stuff. It is impromptu, or it feels impromptu.
Yeah.
That
little impromptu thing is a spectator rips a leaf in half behind their back.
Yes.
And then they fold it up and then you bring them back out and they're both restored. Yeah. Really good. Yeah. I think that kind of answers it, and I think Tommy Wonder as well, like you said, was just so much amazing stuff. Particularly his like parlor sets are just incredible.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, it's like an old school fluidity to it.
Definitely, yes. And he mixes things up. He does things that you don't expect as well, which I quite like.
Yeah. And Michael Amar, I love watching all of Michael Amar's older magic stuff as well.
Yeah,
Michael Close when I first started. Michael Close.
Oh yeah.
Wonderful magician.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did everything he released. I had when he first came. When I first started, just unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
But, I like slapstick in comedy as well. I do like it when the assistant gets one over on the magician. You know, we watch one. Oh, was it? Is it Kroll and Co?
Oh,
we watch.
Kroll. It's Krohl.
Yeah,
Okay.
Kroll and Co.
Cut the assistant in half, and the legs drop off, and then he's pulling back up with everything there.
Speaking of assistants, I actually have a little trick that I can show you that's related to an assistant before the end trick as well, if you would like to see it.
I thought our company was getting boring then.
I'm going.
Do you want to show us a trick now?
Well, I can show you something. Basically, this little effect I invented when I first started magic. And then about a year ago, I thought this is maybe a good idea to get it printed up properly. And it's a packet trick, so I thought it would play into what you guys were talking about last week. So would you like to see it?
Of course.
Yeah. Do you want a full screen?
Yeah, it might be a good idea just for this. So wonderful. Okay, so a lot of people don't know this about me, but before I became a solo magician, I was a magician's assistant, and I got put into boxes, kind of like the cards came out of the envelope. Oh, sorry, 1 second.
It's okay.
Don't worry.
What happened there? Okay, let's go back. Okay, so I was an assistant and I was put into a box, and the box was kind of like these 4 playing cards. In fact, a lot of people ask me how the magic was done. And I used to say, it's done with mirrors. And this little packet trick is done with 4 mirrors. And the reason I need 4 of them is because if I just blow and spread the cards, you'll find a little assistant inside. Now, the thing is with this little assistant is you've really got to keep your eye on her. Like me, she was good. So I'm going to put the little assistant in the card packet. Let's see, that's 1, 2, 3rd from top. Okay. And Joel, I'm just going to turn the packet over and I'm going to give the cards a count. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you tell me, have a guess. Do you think the assistant is now on top, in the middle, or underneath?
Oh, I'm going to say on the top.
She's actually underneath. Don't worry, though. She is a bit sneaky, okay? So what we'll do this time is we're going to turn her face down into the packet. And you can see she is now 1, 2, 3rd from top. And I'm not going to do any funny business. All I'm going to do is close her up. So, Joel, I haven't did anything, but where is she?
Was it 2nd from the bottom?
Yes, or 3rd from top. So let's have a look. She is 1, 2, oh. Sorry, I'll try that again. She's 1, 2, oh. Oh, no. Wait a wee second. She's a magician. She's an assistant. So what she needs is a big ta-da. And she appears. But you're probably wondering how this is done. And the real secret is that this trick was all done with mirrors.
Wow.
Thank you.
Fabulous.
Oh,
So that's my take on Alex Anthony's 4-card trick.
That's fantastic.
That is amazing. Really, really nice. And such a nice routine with it.
When I first invented that, I drew on the images, the like blank playing cards. So it's really nice now to actually have them printed out, which is good. So
You look great.
Yeah.
And that mirror at the end was like a real surprise. I was thinking how nice it would be if you actually used it with mirrors, and then at the end, that was such a good little kick.
cool. But packet tricks are great. And I'm looking forward to tuning in next week if you guys are doing a whole show on it. That'll be really interesting.
Yeah, we'll be. Yeah, if Joel doesn't keep us busy. John Carey was watching earlier. I think he still is. So I'm sure he'll be very jealous that he didn't think of that packet trick.
Oh, yes. John loves a good packet trick.
He does. We had him on a few weeks ago. It was amazing.
David Hand said very nice packet effect. I haven't actually did a video of it yet online, but you can actually buy it on my shop page. It's called All Done with Mirrors. So
We've got a lot of people saying how great it was. Gareth Whitty saying great packet trick. Gideon saying nice. Danny Martin says it was lovely, and as I said, David Hand. So did you say that is available if people want to buy
that? Yes, available to buy. So All Done with Mirrors, my version of Alex Emsley's 4-card trick, and it's on my Arkane shop page. So
brilliant. So how much does that cost if people want to buy it?
I should really know this. I think it's either 12 or 14 pounds. It's not too expensive, so it's not.
Okay. Hang on, I'm going to have a little look. We're going to have a look for you and help you out.
I know I should know these. Do you know what? I actually said 2 minutes before going online, I have these products sitting here and I don't even know how much they cost. It's hilarious. I need to learn more business sense.
No, you don't at all.
Really?
Okay, it's £14.
There you go. It's £14 online, and I got this new packaging design for it. So I've got I got quite a lot of them made up already. So yeah.
I tell you what is really nice. It works perfectly for you because you can present yourself as the assistant. And
yes.
What's really nice is that then magicians can perform and talk about their assistant.
Yeah, I think so too. And what's great about it as well, like for example, once you know how the trick works, like you can put anything on it. Like I didn't start with the assistant or the mirror. I used to do it with just words on it. But it's an example of how I like to create. I like to take old magic, classic magic, and just flip it around and do something that relates to me. And at the time when I was only starting to learn card tricks, the thing that related to me was illusions and a box. So I just kind of meshed the two together.
Absolutely, yeah.
Is there anything you're working on at the moment? I know you said you're working on a book. Is there any effects that you're working on?
Yes. So the book has 7 effects in it, but I actually had 8 effects. But the last effect is a little bit tricky, and I haven't got it down yet. So and that's actually a 3-card Monty with a queen that keeps appearing in very random places. So I'm really excited about that because that's only in its beginnings right now.
Brilliant.
So yeah, I'm always working on something, always, whether it's reading, writing, practicing magic. And if one thing that I've learned in these last 2 years is just try, just do, because everybody is going to be crap. Like you're going to be crap at some point. And if you're going to be crap, you may as well be good crap. Like, be really bad crap, because then you will get much better. You will, yeah. If I've learned anything, it's that. And
Be crap
try.
together.
Yes, in fact, Tommy Wonder actually says, find a place that you can be crap, and then you get better.
Becomes great crap.
Yes, exactly.
Well, it looks like Gareth Witt has ordered it already.
Thank you.
No,
Thank
that's
you very
great.
So yeah, I mean, when you're performing, when you're going out and doing shows, how long do you tend to do your shows for? When you do your stage shows and kids shows?
That's a really good question.
18 minutes.
Well, yeah. Close-up wise, I hadn't really established myself as a proper close-up performer here before lockdown. Like even though I created shows for like the castle and things like that, I hadn't really built myself up here. But kid show wise, I have always done a kid show around about 50 minutes. I always say 50 minutes to the hour. I think an hour is the maximum that you can do for a show. It's really pushing it at that stage, I think. And I've just found a sweet spot at 50 minutes. I used to believe that 20 minutes was way too short. But since lockdown and since doing virtual shows, I think online shows, 20 minutes is perfect. Okay. Any more than that, and your audience, you know, they're not really paying attention. And you really want to grab the most attention you can on the screen right away. Yeah. So I've found a new method for a 20-minute magic show, which is really good because when obviously lockdown stops, I'll be able to go out now and perform loads of different 20-minute magic shows where I didn't think it would work. So
yeah, absolutely. And a solid 20-minute straight through of material as well.
Yeah, definitely. So the online shows. What I do is what I find is the magic method for me is an intro, a song, 2 magic tricks, and a song, and in between them, obviously, I can talk to the kids and things like that. But 2 very solid routines, and then the rest you can just fill. So
sorry, my internet broke a little bit. Then did you say an intro? An
intro, a song.
A song.
Because the groups that I'm working with are usually learning disabled or, you know, a younger audience. I think incorporating music and song into it is a good thing. So so an intro song so that they can join in as well, something that they can do while I'm not.
Rhythm just to break up the feeling of the bodies or whatever, yeah?
Definitely. Intro song, 2 routines and an end. So.
Okay. So do you sing? Do you play music live? Or?
Yes, I have my own ukulele that my best friend bought me. Oh, do you have one? Ukulele buddies.
This is well out of tune. I haven't tuned it in for a long time.
Yeah.
Mine's the Sunburst range.
I like it. I love it. Yeah, so I've learned to play ukulele as well in lockdown because I wanted to have live music for the kids. So I literally, depending on what theme, I just learn a song. So when I had a pirate show, I learned some pirate shanties, and yeah, it's fun, and it breaks it up for me as well.
Absolutely, yeah, and gives you something else to learn and focus on, and
Definitely,
rather than just the monotonousness of magic and which is
Yeah.
never really monotonous when you're presenting it correctly or whatever. But I mean, music is just brilliant, and it's just great in the show.
I get bored of music all the time. It's just even listening to music and exploring different musics. I have the YouTube music station, and it's great because you can just type in, like, say I do an Alice in Wonderland theme show, I just type in Alice in Wonderland theme music, and it throws up like hundreds of songs, and I just sit and listen to them. And yeah, music is very key, I think, in magic for me.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what would be well worth.
Sorry, Glenn.
I was going to say what would be well worth you checking out if you haven't already. Loopers. Loopers.
Okay.
They're for like live music performance. So you can build little rhythms and things like that. And if you already play guitar or a bit of piano, and get yourself a looper, and what you can do is make your music live and just create little backing tracks. So you can do a little rhythm and it will carry on once you put it down.
I love that. That's wonderful.
And you can just build them up. And so what's so nice about it is you can keep that music flowing throughout your full show. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Just a little idea. So check out Loopers.
I will.
505. That's what you want to check out. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, that sort of goes with what I was going to say, really. When lockdown's finished, you can almost do a one-woman show, really, with the music and the instruments and Joelle.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I find really hard. Like today, I did a show about ancient Greece, and it was wonderful. Like, it was great fun to create, but I spent 3 whole days creating it. I didn't sleep for 3 days because you have to put so much together, or I do. And one of the things I find is really difficult is the soundscape of the show. So I have, you shall see here, I have Go Button. This is the best thing, like the best thing I have bought as a performer for music. And I also have this little button here, which is a flick button. Don't buy it in black, because when it falls on the floor, you'll never find it. That's something I've learned. Good tip. But a Go Button, it's expensive, but it honestly is the best thing, because I literally hit this button and it plays. I can edit it so that the next time I hit it, it stops or it goes into the next track. Invest. It's really good. Really good.
And that's called Go Button.
Go Button, yeah.
Can I ask you a question, Nicola?
Yeah.
Does Andy look like he's black and white to you? Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Or is it just my screen?
No, it must be your screen.
Oh, it is. You look like you're black and white to me, Andy.
I think you stole all his color, Joel.
Yeah. No, that's great. I think you should check out Loopers. I'm
definitely going to.
Yeah, they're such good fun. Like, especially for like building up. If you perform in about different, different countries, you can build little rhythms that would represent that country. If that's
nice. I love that. This is why I love actually doing things like this in interviews and talking and connecting with people, because everybody has certain knowledge that they've come across. And when you meet up with magicians or friends in the performing industry and share it, it just enriches not only your own performing knowledge, but everyone's. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's one of the big things that we all miss from like Blackpool and all, meeting other performers and that sort of thing. You miss that sort of, even when you sat with a deck of cards and you're saying, "Oh, I'm working on this," and they'll say, "Just move your hand a little bit," and then you go, So yeah.
Or as Andy gets, "That's rubbish, Andy. Put them away." I'm only playing. Yeah.
It's okay. Well, Gareth, did you see Gareth Whitty's comment? Joelle's going to do a one-woman show. There we go.
I can lend you my wig. It's totally fine.
Gareth also says, Gareth's got a ukulele as well. There we go. And he can play 3 chords, so it sounds like he can play every Queen song.
Yeah, well, I have
three.
Which is a...
Play everything.
Yeah,
very much.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we've written a book, we've learnt instruments, we've learnt new magic tricks. And I mean, have you found? Are you now finding you've no time to perform at all because you're doing all these things? And...
No, I like what I actually find now is I plan my day. It actually started because at the very beginning of lockdown I wasn't very motivated or creative. So my motto, if you like, for this period of time has been little and often.
Okay.
So every single day I decide to do one thing. And by the end of the week, it feels like I've done a lot. But what's happened gradually over lockdown is I end up doing more than one thing a day, and then it just keeps on going. So what I've done is I've thrown my diary out the window, and I actually write on scraps of A4 paper and hang them up on my wardrobe, and I kind of look like, this is what I want to get done today, and I kind of tick them off. But little and often's brilliant, because if you wake up one day and you don't feel good and you don't really want to do anything, say you wanted to learn a packet trick.
Yeah.
If you have little and often in your head, you'll go, right, I'll just pick this up. And what happens is then you end up practicing the whole routine. So just getting into your head little and often, it can only be one thing. It can be, and it can grow. It can lead to so much more. So
yeah, absolutely. We do have a question which has come from Jonathan Morlaw. And he's asking, what are some tips to find your own character? And one thing that I've kind of realised is FizzWiz Pop, your book from your shop, is basically all about that, right?
Yes, it is indeed. So the reason I wrote this book was because there was children's books on the market with magic tricks. In fact, it's like all magic. It's flooded with tons of magic material. But what we don't actually talk about is the more important stuff, I think, like how we create something for children, how we present ourselves to children, how we develop a show. And that's what that book's all about. I take people through a step-by-step guide of how to build your character, a show, the business side of things. For me, I have found in creating FizzWiz Pop, she is just an extension of myself. I absolutely love David Bowie, and I always compare FizzWiz Pop to him becoming Ziggy Stardust, for example, and the way he talks about that. It's almost like as soon as, like before I arrive at a party, I walk in the door and I'm me. And then as soon as I say my first line, I've become something else, but it's just a more enlarged version of me.
Yeah.
And I only realized that after about 10 years of performing. So what I think is essential when you're building a character is that you know yourself inside out, and you know what kind of personality you are, so that you can exaggerate those certain traits when you're performing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I think it's a good experience as well. I mean, I started gigging at 25, 26. Mm-hmm. And at that age, you're really not comfortable in your own skin. You don't really know yourself. And then you get older and you know, I'm quite deadpan when I perform. So when we were talking about the masks earlier, I say some things, whereas if you didn't see my facial expression, you would think, my word, is it? But because I will say it and then have a cheeky smile, or I'll look at somebody and then, you know. So
you actually did, didn't you? You approached a couple of at your residency with your visor on, and they didn't react to your jokes. No. I was happy when you told me that story.
Yeah, they kept telling me how good the sense of humour. We've got an amazing sense of humour. So I'm like, oh well, just listen. I've got my new contact lenses in. So if you see them, don't worry. And she's like, "You're wearing glasses," and I'm like, "Okay."
Oh, wonderful.
and then she went, "Do you know, you'll have such a laugh with us. We've got an amazing sense of humour." I'm like, okay.
Okay. Yeah. So, sorry. On this, it says Somebody just put a little message in saying that is incorrect. That Arkane shop.
Yes,
Sorry.
it's ARK.
Sorry.
I might have put that wrong, so thank you whoever corrected that.
Well, I'm going to correct it now. ARK. There we go. Everybody, check
Awesome.
out FizzWiz Pop if you want to learn about building your own character, different techniques. I think even if people already perform as a character, it's always good to get other people's interpretations as to how they've created that character.
Definitely. And the one thing that you've got to do is you've got to really love it when you're performing for children. Like, not that I haven't seen many people who don't love performing for children, but it's a feeling and emotion. And when I do it, I absolutely love it. I put my heart and soul into it. And the kids know that, and the adults can see that too. So if you're really enthusiastic and love what you're doing, that's all you need to do. And it will come across in your character and what you're doing.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. Oh, that's wonderful.
There was a question earlier as well. What is your guilty pleasure in magic? Is there a certain effect that you love that you go,
I'm trying to think what I've been buying recently. Do you know what? Magic is definitely a guilty pleasure. I was talking to my friend Oliver Meek about this a couple of days ago. Like, we are magicians. It is our job. And yet we can kind of buy things for magic and go, it's a treat for ourselves, but also feel virtuous because we're actually buying it for work. And I think that's just brilliant, you know. So, but do you know what? I'll tell you what a guilty pleasure for me, and it's not really necessarily magic. Costumes, like finding things to wear when I perform. Like last month, I was performing for Chicago Magic Lounge, their virtual cocktail hours, and I needed a jacket. And I ended up within 1 week buying 2 jackets for that one show. I have a jacket fetish, I found out. So yeah, I love buying costumes for myself. I used to love buying playing cards, but not so much now because I kind of tear them up and all quite a lot. So I don't normally buy kind of expensive playing cards anymore because I'm writing on them and tearing them up. So there's no point in doing that. But yeah, it's actually strange because since I've started to make my own magic, I've stopped buying a lot of magic. So I tend to think of something that I want to perform, and I think, how can I make that myself? So I really only buy something if I really, really need it now, which is it's good.
You're beating the habit. You're putting yourself through magic rehab.
Yes, I know.
You've got one. Is there a certain effect that you buy, or cards, or because you're not really into cards and things, are you? Is there anything?
I would buy. I love coins and things like that. I do some coin magic, and a lot of the things I buy actually are for my kids' show, for props and things like that. Like recently, I just bought my first square circle, which I'm so excited about because I only found out how that actually worked recently. I know that's really sad, but when I watch a trick that I absolutely love or don't know how it's done, I actually like to kind of figure it out myself, or don't ask how it's done until I really, really want to know. So yeah.
You said about the square circle. I saw a post by Gary Jones, and he was saying the way he performs it, he says, "I'm a member of the Magic Square."
Oh.
And he'll say no, and he'll flip it, and he'll say no, the circle, and he'll look, and he'll swap it backwards and forwards between Magic Square and Magic Circle.
Oh, that's really nice. That's a really nice idea.
I must admit, my guilty pleasure. I don't really perform socially anymore. I perform when I go out working, and I don't really do it. But if I ever went out, I'd take a squeaker and a delight. That's I can make things squeak, which just amuses the hell out of me and just delights. And I'll just sit and just So those are my two.
I love it.
My guilty pleasure was definitely. Luckily, I'm out of this now. But was peak wallets. just for
Oh.
years. Whenever a new Peak wallet would come out, I'm sure people started to release Peak wallets just for me, because I would literally buy every Peak wallet as it came out. But the problem was that I'd get it in the post and I'd receive it and it would just do the exact same thing as another Peak wallet, because that's what it is. And
Yeah.
I genuinely had a collection of thousands upon thousands of pounds worth of Peak wallets. I
Wow.
bought one Peak wallet that cost me £1,300 just for a Peak. It's the only one that I use at the moment, and I put it in my show. Yeah, and then don't ask. Like, and all it does is give me a Peak, just like every other. And I was doing a show. I was I don't know where on earth I was, but I was at some event, and I actually forgot my Peak wallet, and I managed to get hold of an envelope. And then it dawned on me, I've got to stop buying these Peak wallets, because that envelope that I just went out on stage with did the exact same thing as my addiction to leather peaking wallets.
You know Mark Hall, obviously. When I
Yeah.
seen his lecture when he came to Belfast, it was amazing how much he did with envelopes, you know, in terms of peaking and things like that. It's, if you haven't watched his Penguin lecture, yeah, he's really good for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love all of his work. Really good. Like you say, a lot of envelope stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like a full act of envelopes, basically. Really, really nice. Yeah.
I think when I first got into magic as well, I think I went through a Sharpie phase. I had loads of Sharpies.
Yeah, I couldn't get enough Sharpies.
I wonder if the next phase is going to be in like this year, like because of COVID, if there's going to be any. Oh, there we go.
Sorry, I don't know where that came from, but there's another one. Sorry. Sorry, what were you saying?
Get that up last week. We had those in there from last week.
What?
I said we set that up last week. You've had those in there since last week.
I can't hear anything you're saying.
Have you got
Is
another
there
Sharpie?
in there?
Yeah, I do. Sorry.
Oh my word.
Oh, I actually, you're just reminding me, I did a workshop in Sweden this summer, and a guy actually did a routine, an amazing magician and performer did a routine like that with the Sharpie, and it actually ended up in his throat, and it looked amazing how you kind of pulled it about here before regurgitating it again. It was quite cool.
Oh, that sounds good. Brilliant. That sounds great.
I wouldn't even know where to begin with something like, oh my word.
Danny Martin says all of his magic's really cheap. That's what he tells the wife. Hopefully she didn't sell it for what he said he paid for it.
Yeah, a lot of people do. I mean, I've bought stuff in the past and gone, yeah, it wasn't that much. It was. Yeah,
And
explain bags coming back from Blackpool. That was always a good fun conversation.
I know Blackpool is like, the Blackpool dealer hall is like a nightmare. You just kind of go in and every day it kind of accumulates.
Gideon says he's got to get his magic delivered to his mother's house so his
No
wife
way.
doesn't see them.
I love that.
That's a brilliant idea.
And then slowly sneak them in like one day at a time.
Just a year, just not these days. I bet it is.
Oh,
Magic
wow.
Pen, Gideon just bought the bundle as well. So Gideon, we're sorry. We're fueling his addiction, unfortunately.
Sorry, Gideon. Oh, wow. Can we talk a little bit about the chaos within?
Yes. So when I put together my magic act for the castle performance, I actually put it together within a 2-week period, because I thought if you have a goal, it's easier to achieve it, if that makes sense. If I didn't have that goal of putting it together, to record it, to send it off to the castle, it would never have got done. And I decided for that particular piece that I wanted to do all brand new magic. So again, I took 2 weeks. I hired a venue and I invited, I think it was about 20 muggles, like non-magicians, to come in and watch the show. And basically the chaos within is a breakdown of all of the tricks that I did in my Magic Castle act. But not only that, it's kind of the thinking behind structuring an act, so that you kind of bring your audience on a journey. what I've discovered in the last couple of years is, for me, again, it's not really about the tricks, even though the tricks do matter. It's about in between the tricks, how you link them up. That's what actually sells it and makes you professional. How you intro, how you get from one trick to another, and how you finish. It's far more important, because anybody can perform tricks, but how you make it work is the kind of glue in between. So that's what I talk about in the chaos within, really.
That's fantastic.
So when you say the chaos within, is that the chaos that was within you, or is it the one that's in the structure of the routine?
Yes, definitely. So the name came out of basically that 2-week period that I had to create an 18-minute act, and I cried. It was awful. But when I got to the end of that 2 weeks and I had put all of the tricks together, it was like a eureka moment. So there's card and coin magic in here. There is. In fact, it's a lot of card magic. It's funny when you look back on something and you haven't looked at it in a while. There's a trick with a servant and a disappearing jewel that appears somewhere else. And but that's basically my magic castle act that I put together, because I thought in years to come, I want to look back and see that and see where I've come from.
Well, it's great. It seems like a lot of the books that you've written, you're kind of writing at the time that you're creating things. Which,
definitely. Rather
than looking back and then writing what your experience was, you're kind of writing as you're going through it.
Definitely. And one of the things I started last year was I do a blog on my Arkane shop page. I started it last November, and basically it started off like as a diary, if you like, of my journey. Yeah. But it's come so much more than that. Like, I try and give tips and hints and advice to magicians, sometimes with magic tricks. And it's become like kind of, since lockdown, obviously, something that I really look forward to doing every single week. And what's good about all these written projects is the whole point of it is that my writing improves every single week or with every single book. So I think it's key to write at the stage you are right now, rather than leaving it for years and coming back to it. And that's just my journey.
Your perspective would be different as well, because if you're writing it while you're actually doing it, it's fresh and you're in the moment. You can say, right, this is the problem and that's what I've got to do. And that's, I mean, it's something I've always wanted to keep a diary, but never really I might, now I'm 40, I might keep a diary. They say life begins at 40. I'm going to write a diary.
Little enough.
Little wants the chaos within. Can you remember how much it is?
It is. No, I can't. Oh my word!
It's £21, Nicola.
Yes, £21.
It's £21. So you can pick that up from arkaneshop.com.
There is the paper bound ones, but I will just warn you, I couldn't really say this, but there are loads of spelling mistakes in this that I'm not really proud of. So I would recommend getting the ebook, because the ebook has all the nice colored pictures in it too. So
okay.
But you can buy the paperback if you want, and I'll sign it for you. So yeah.
So the ebook is £22. If you want one with spelling mistakes, that's a physical copy. It's £24.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm going to go for the spelling mistakes because I want your signature on it. So
it's really funny, because I'm sure other people who write, it's a real big learning curve. Like, this actually nearly killed me. I had to learn how to do InDesign, and thankfully Will Houston worked with me on this. He was my spelling corrector, and it was amazing. Thank you so much, Will, for doing this, because I learned so much working with him on that book in terms of learning how to write tricks. I mean, if you've never written up a magic trick before, wow, you're in for a real treat. It's so difficult. It's so difficult to break something down so that other people can understand it. And in fact, you can understand it after you've written it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've all sort of been in that position where we've read the instructions that have come with the trick, and you've gone, that doesn't sound anything like, and it's not. So yeah, no, I totally totally get how difficult it is.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got one last question really for you. So once everything goes back to normal, what is the one thing that you're mainly looking forward to?
I am looking forward to. Do you know what I'm looking forward to? Because I have went out and performed again live.
Yeah,
I'm actually looking forward to going to a convention again, a
Right.
proper live convention, and meeting all my magic friends. Because I miss all you so much. Like it's great being able to do this virtually, but there's nothing nicer than sitting like at the session in the hall and everybody's sitting around and the electric feeling of just everybody being there and loving magic and sharing. I miss that so much. You know,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
really like. I can't wait until a live convention happens again. I really can't.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
always that buzz as well. There's always that. There's like a bubbling underneath the surface. What's going to be the next big thing? What, you know, whenever you speak to anybody, oh, what have you seen? And yeah, so it is. I think the sessions are going ahead in January, aren't they?
It's not in January, it's in July next year. And I think there's only like a certain amount of tickets live, but you can also experience it virtually, which I think the guys have done really well because, like, I know my mum has had to isolate this period and it was hard for her to kind of go back out again. So I'm sure there will be some people around the world that mightn't be able to physically be there, but they would still like to be a part of it. So the guys have done really well. So
yeah, the guys at Vanishing Ink are amazing. They do wonderful stuff. Yeah, they did the was it 24 hours they did to something like that? They did an online.
were you guys there?
Magic show.
I watched part of it through the day and it was wonderful. Yeah, they had some amazing people on it. Was David Williamson did a bit, and yeah, they did some amazing things. Ben Earl was there,
Yeah.
I think. So yeah, it was a full day of magic and it was amazing.
Mhm.
But I think it just goes to show how good a community we are, that people give the time off and they'll do things, and because it is really, I mean, to go from, we had everything really, conventions, we had conventions that pretty much throughout the year, depending on where you were in the world, we met people from, I've got friends all over the world now because of this. And
it's crazy how much magic connects so many people across the world. I don't think any industry has thrived so much in lockdown in terms of community than magic. It's the sharing, the giving, the being there for each other. It's simply beautiful.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
really good. So we had one question earlier. I don't think we mentioned it. Somebody asked about any top tips that you would give somebody that's performing at the moment. So any, things on creativity or creating a character. Is there any sort of couple of tips that you would say, these are what I sort of swear by, really?
Yep. So as I've already said, little and often. Have a goal to aim towards. Like, even, for example, say you're offered a virtual magic show. Remember, it's not you going out and doing a real show. So why don't you even try one new trick? Like, even if it throw one new trick into like an old show that you do, just try something new, break yourself out of your comfort zone. Because not only do you learn so much about yourself, you gain so much as a person and a performer. And the time when we're stuck and everything's monotonous, this is the time to just break things up. And yeah, I would definitely try new things, learn new things.
Break them all.
That ties in with what you said earlier about don't be scared of being crap. Be good crap.
Be good crap. Yeah. I love that.
That's going to be your quote.
That sums up 2020 pretty much. Yeah.
Yes, I know. And one of my friends actually said there's still 3 months to go. So people, like, seriously keep your fingers crossed that nothing else is going to happen this year.
I've got my money on zombie apocalypse or alien invasion.
Oh man, could you imagine?
Hopefully. Wow. Fingers crossed.
Which one would you prefer?
Do you know what's worse? I have been watching all these programs on Netflix about dystopian worlds, and we're actually living in one. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, we are, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It seems to be a weird few years. You know, we had, was it 2018? We lost a lot of celebrities and
Yes.
that sort of thing. And it was just like one after another, you know, major celebrities. And then 2019 seemed to go so fast. And then I was being really optimistic. 2019, I'm like, oh, you know, I've got more bookings in 2020 than I've ever had. And it's the year to get married. It was like 2000. Everybody got married in 2000. So it's easy for the men to remember. And yeah, 2020, I'm like, oh, we'll be fine. We'll be good.
I think we're all going to remember 2020 for all the wrong reasons.
I've got some really nice memories. I mean, things, and it's not been the best year, but I've met more new people. I mean, first time we've met, really, and we did a show with Etienne Pradier, so we got to meet Etienne, and
Wow.
yeah, it's been a good year. And my highlight of today, it's a small highlight, but Gaten Bloom followed me on Instagram. I'm just, oh,
I love that. I know exactly how you feel. When Max Maven asked me to be a friend on Facebook, I nearly died. I was like, and do you know what? I kind of like, should I accept? Yes, I should. I should. And I love you, Max.
oh yeah. I mean, Gaten, oh, he's one of my favorite magicians.
He was wonderful in Blackpool, wasn't he?
Yeah, amazing. He was
We
really.
were stuck behind our stand all of Blackpool, so we didn't really see.
Oh,
Yeah.
I did make, and it came over to the stand because I'd bought some things off him but anyway, and he came over and I said, oh, hi, how are you doing? And he spoke for about 5 minutes and had a picture and things like that. And yeah, there's few magicians I've worked at Blackpool and seen them, and yeah, there's a few that David Williamson's one of my favorites, Gaten Bloom, and I'm just like, oh.
yeah. That's great. And that's what's great about the conventions as well, because you really get to know all these big stars, you know, and you just realize they're just people. It's, you know, yeah, we're very lucky, I think, as an industry.
Yeah.
One little book that I was thinking about. Have you read, is it Grips, Looks and Lines by Mark Oberon?
No, I haven't.
No. The way you describe the chaos within, almost kind of, is the way you described it is described very similarly to Mark Oberon.
Oh, nice.
In the sense that it might be worth you reading each other's kind of processes that you've been through.
Definitely, actually. I tuned in last week to, was it last week that he was on, or he was on some point anyway?
Yeah, that was about a month ago.
Okay. That was wonderful. I loved hearing him talking about piecing things together. It's so nice when you discover a method that someone else uses too, because then you realize actually it is a thing and it works. You know. So I'll have to write that down. That's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's a wonderful book. I did a wonderful bundle for us, and I did buy it. I was looking for it actually because it's a wonderful. I mean, even I like my books, and
Yes.
A magic book. It's all embossed. It's beautiful. So I was.
I'll go on if you can find it. Oh, there, you know.
Whilst you're looking for the book, Anthony Collins says he's discovered his love for magic again more during lockdown over 2020. So it sounds like 2020 has done Anthony Collins some good.
Definitely, and Anthony actually and me have been seconding together as well, and I've been helping him with his magic and vice versa. And again, it's magic is a wonderful hobby for people during this time.
Absolutely, yeah. Good to keep your mind occupied.
Look at the gold. Oh.
Yeah, there we go. Even on the back, I mean,
That's nice.
he talks about working in a triangle when he's working, so he knows the positions of his hands each time. So right, I've hit this position, I've hit this position, now I'm over here. So you're capturing all the aspects of the audience. Honestly, especially now when I found performing to camera, you can't get away with a great deal. One of my favorite effects is card to wallet. So when I'm out performing and I'm doing card to wallet, so you've palmed the camera, it's either in here or you're going to your pocket. On screen, that movement's such a massive movement that you're having to choreograph it a lot more than what I would do when I'm out performing close.
Definitely. And I always find, or I have found in the last 2 years, that really to make good misdirection, use the gears as well. And where you look is extremely vital on virtual shows, even more so because it's so close. And I always find that you have to look at the camera more. It's almost like you're looking directly at the audience to make the connection there too. So yeah, it is. It's far harder now that we're working in tighter environments.
Yeah, it is. Like you said, we've got a bit more freedom from the side of the cameras, but when you're actually on camera, it's an unblinking eye. You've no misdirection at all, really.
Yeah.
So, Joelle, you're now in the middle.
Oh yeah, brilliant! I've only just noticed that. Woohoo! I'm sandwiched. So we've got one last question. Is that all right?
Yes, of course.
Okay. This has come from Gideon, and he's asking, Nicola, if you could use only one magical word to describe 2020, what would it be?
Do you know what's hilarious? Actually, I did this in one of my shows for the kids.
Oh, really?
I'll share it this post maybe after so you can see. But when I went to Paris and the Louvre with the kids, I realized I was doing a trick actually that I learned from Raphael from his Ali Bongo lecture in Blackpool, where he had like an artist kind of pad with silks in, and then the silks vanish. But I was pretending to paint a picture, and the picture was Edward Monk's The Scream. And I actually dubbed it 2020 Envision. So yeah, that's what I dubbed 2020, The Scream.
Say that again, Andy.
Pretty much sums it up.
Yeah.
Only The Scream would have a mask on. He wouldn't.
In fact, all three of us should do this right now. Oh, there you go. Picture.
There you go. Screenshot for everybody.
Awesome.
So everybody, get yourselves onto Arkane Shop. That's arkane.com. There's loads we've spoke about. You can check out a variety of different books. We've got packet tricks. You've got a little gimmick as well, which is it vanishes things.
Yes, I do indeed. So if I'm just thinking for this set of lecture notes here, I have my Magic Castle performance up on my YouTube channel, which is just Nikola Arkane or Fizzwiz Pop. I think it's Nikola Arkane. And so you'll actually see the very first effect that I do in this show. And basically I change an object into a pack of cards. But with this gimmick, you can literally change anything in this, like one object into another. It's a Stuart James effect that it's a slightly adapted, but so that's on there too.
Wow. Okay. So that's the first trick.
The first trick, and that effect, that little gimmick is called the Arkane Agogo, because obviously you're making something go. So.
Yeah. Oh, lovely. Okay, brilliant. I'll be heading over there to check it out as well. So it sounds great.
Oh, and just to say with those, I have certain ones up there in the material that I have, but obviously I can make it up in any material, any color. You just need to message me personally and let me know what you want. So.
Super.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Thank you very much.
Arkane, go.
Hey, lovely. Oh, thank you very much for joining us tonight. We
it's
really
no
appreciate
problem.
it.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. I'm sure everybody else has enjoyed themselves as well.
Yeah.
We'll get an influx in a moment of everybody saying thank you. So we'll go for everybody's thanks in a moment. But yeah.
Did you say you have something to show us before you go as well?
Yes, I do indeed.
Oh, really? Sorry. I'm cutting you off too soon. Sorry.
Oh, it's no problem. So
Nicola,
I will.
would you like a full screen?
Yes, please. So I was actually going to perform something from The Chaos Within, but I thought, well, since I have a new book, I should basically be performing something from this instead. So I hope you enjoy this. This little trick's called Stellar Collision. I actually need that for this. And basically, all of the effects in the book are based on space because it's about in plain sight, everything around us. And yeah, I hope you enjoy this, and I will perform it to music. So
Wow.
thank you all for watching. Sorry, 1 second. I messed myself up.
Oh, don't worry, it's all right.
I should have set this up before I started. There we go.
It's all right, don't we? I'll tell you what, hang on. Do you need a moment?
Nope, that's me.
All right. Okay.
I apologize.
Don't
I'm ready.
apologize.
No,
Serious.
it's all-
Okay, so this is Stellar Collision.
Two worlds collide with our hearts on the line. We were young and naive. We were wild, we were free. And I don't wanna leave your arms tonight. I'm falling, still falling for you. I just wanna stay here by your side. I'm falling, still falling for you. Our time has come. Every song has been sung. When the fire's burning low, I still want you to know.
Wow.
So,
Very nice.
Good. Wow. Thank you very much.
no problem at all. So yeah, this will be a new book that I write. There's 7 effects in it, and yeah, if you like what you see or you want to connect with me, please feel free to add me on Facebook and connect, because I love magic. I love meeting people, and yeah, let's just make magic better and keep magic alive. So,
Oh,
Absolutely.
wonderful. Yeah,
Oh,
and
thank
it's
you.
been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
no problem at all. Thank you, guys.
No,
Thank
you're
you very
welcome.
much for coming on. Thanks for showing us your magic as well. We really enjoyed it. Thank you. Look after yourself. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Wow,
Oh,
how good was that? I
Oh,
know.
I feel really lazy. She's learned ukulele. She makes costumes. She's like, and I'm like that. Yeah, you know.
I know, yeah. And then inventing so many amazing magic tricks.
Oh,
Wow.
unbelievable.
I now want to come off this screen and just go and learn magic.
Yeah, I want to go and start a diary. I think I'm going to start a diary. And if I write my memoirs, it's going to be called Little and Often.
Oh, that was brilliant. Hey, Andy, we should leave it until next week.
I know. Well, we've done, I can't believe, 2 hours. That's flown by. It's been so cool.
It was really, really nice. Yeah. It's
Oh, yeah.
brilliant.
So go show some love to Nicola. I mean, go to the website. It's arkaneshop.com.
Sure is. It's arkaneshop.com. So head over to Arkane Shop, pick yourself up some brilliant magic. And as you can see, everything has been thoroughly thought out, you know?
I mean, you know, now's the time. Now's the time to sort of all them things you've thought about doing to your act and all that sort of thing. Do it. Like Nicola said, you know, little and often, get it done, and you know, and learn from somebody that, I mean, to put an act together to go to the Magic Castle in 2 weeks.
Yeah. That is kind of the ultimate, you know, like Nicola said, don't be scared of being crap, you know, and
Yeah.
that kind of was the ultimate point, really. I
Yeah.
think, you know, to challenge yourself, to put an act together, to give yourself 2 weeks to go out to the Magic Castle, perform 35 shows. I mean, that is something, right?
There's a lot of work. That act must be so polished. I mean, you know yourself, you practice and practice and practice, but it's like driving. You never really learn to start driving until you're out on the roads and doing it for real. So that act, 35 shows, just yeah. So, you know, learn from the best. She's obviously done the work. She, you know, so I'll be getting the book. I'll be, yeah, little and often.
Yeah, we've got some great comments as well. Anthony says that was awesome, loved it. Lucy Wilson says that was fantastic as usual. Danny Martin says it was beautiful, and David Hand wraps it up perfectly, saying it was indeed a super ending.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
And Rachel, hello Rachel. Now Rachel's not really a magician.
Oh, what's she doing on here? Where's that ban button?
Rachel's blue. I've done a few events where she's been there, so yeah.
Hey. Right, Andy, I'm going to leave you to it. I'll see you next week.
See you all next week. Oh, who we got next week?
Who have we got next week? You're going to have to remind me about this.
We've sorted it out as well.
Oh, come on. Don't do
Is
this.
it Dan?
I've had a busy week.
Dan?
Miles? Dan?
I'm the older one. I'm not telling you.
Well, let's have it as the surprise.
Surprise for both of us.
For both of us, yeah. No, I believe it's Miles Thornton next week we have on the show. Yeah, it is, yeah. All right. Go on, let's go.